Hey, this is Jeff here. I'm here to give you guys my thoughts on the 2019 Philadelphia Eagles preseason. I want to take a look at the depth chart today and give you my thoughts as the Eagles are ready to take on the Tennessee Titans this weekend. And kind of let's just see what the team's got in store for them this year. All right, so let's just talk about the board here. My personal depth chart, been doing this kind of layout for a couple of years. Let's talk about the colors here. And then, mind you, this depth chart does come directly from the Eagles. This is something that the public relations team put together in the past 24 hours. Any player that's in the color of green is most likely a starter. That's what we hope for. Started last year or potential player to make the team. Anyone that's in the color of blue was a draft pick by the team this past year. Anyone that's in the color of orange was a undrafted free agent. Anyone that's silver is more likely a free agent or a bottom of the roster player. And anyone that has the white tag is someone that's more or less a street free agent, someone that was a camp body kind of added to the roster here late to make up the 90-man group to go into camp. So let's start off with the quarterbacks here. So let's start off. Carson Wentz, he's back. Okay, we all know this. It's a big opportunity. It's a big chance for him to come back and prove everyone that thinks that he's not going to be the guy that he is going to be the guy. I think we're all on the same page there. So Carson's obviously got it, but what lies next is the backup position. Okay, Nate Sudfeld, Cody Kessler, Clayton Thorson. Okay, let's be honest. There's some concerns there. Nick Foles, not here anymore. We're all aware of that. Okay, Suds. Okay. Nate Sudfeld's had a so-so preseason, okay? To me, these 4 preseason games are going to be absolutely huge for him. Does he have it? Does he have a chance to be the guy, okay? Because if Carson does miss a game or two, we're going to have to count on him, okay? Right now, my personal thoughts, I don't have the confidence in him, okay? He played a little bit in the preseason last year, looked okay, played last year toward the end of the season, didn't really show a lot, okay? This is his chance. He's a free agent after this year. He's got to come out. He's got to prove it. I personally think Cody could give him a run for his money, but if there's one thing I think we all have to keep in mind, is that the Eagles in preseason, they play the extreme vanilla offense, okay? Let's take it back to a couple of years ago when they opened up the season in Green Bay, okay? Carson Wentz went out there for one drive. The next series, we should have had Nick Foles. Nick's actually, the year we went to the Super Bowl, set out the entire preseason. So we had Matt McGloin out there. Matt McGloin played the rest of the game, and he stunk, okay? They play a vanilla offense in preseason, like I said. So therefore, we're not going to see a whole lot of looks. So therefore, in the preseason, don't get too frustrated if any of these quarterbacks don't look that good, because they're not going to show you a whole lot, okay? The hope is, either whether it's in camp or at least a little bit in the game, that we'll get a chance to see something out of Sudfeld to show that he can be the guy. Cody Kessler's obviously been a backup his whole career, but once again, it goes back to as if Carson goes down, do we have enough confidence in Cody Kessler to be the guy? Do we have enough confidence in Nate Sudfeld? Clayton Thorson at this point, I know a lot of people have him locked in to be the number 53 guy on the roster to make the roster. At this point, I don't feel really good about him. He has not had a good camp. We've got a number of problems here across the board, okay? If we're looking at player 53, is he going to be the guy? Is he a guy that we want to keep around or not? We're going to find out. But these next 3-4 games here are going to really say a lot about his future. Running backs, wow, okay? I've never seen a group of running backs this big into the preseason, okay? Normally you kind of go with 3, 4, 5, 6 maybe, and the 6 guys trying to push it, okay? There's a lot going on here, okay? Let's face it, Jordan Howard, Miles Sanders, those are going to be the starters. New guys coming in, rebuilt the backfield. I think those guys are going to be great contributors for us. We know Darren Sproles is more of a role player. We know that he's going to be a returner. That's great. I think great things for Corey Clement. He's a guy that can be a utility player for us. He can be the guy that's catching the ball in the backfield, the third down back, a kick returner, a punt returner. We're expecting big things from him. After that is where it gets interesting, okay? Wendell Smallwood, who knows, okay? It's a mixed bag whether or not he's going to be enough. He's done some good things in special teams. We'll wait and see on him. Josh Adams, the big back, a guy that was kind of proven, or kind of given the opportunity, I should say, to go out and be the guy there toward the back end of the season. Got a little banged up, but not really a guy that kind of fits our style. And the last 2 guys, Boston Scott. Okay, Boston Scott was kind of a guy that was looked upon to be that new Darren Sproles clone. Once we got to the end of last year, did some returns for us there toward the end of the season, especially in the playoffs versus the Bears and the Saints. Can he be the guy to kind of, be that 5th spot? I think there's a possibility, and I honestly wouldn't give up also on Donnell Pumphrey. Big fan of his coming out of college. Thought really good things of him. To me, both those guys have a chance to kind of be that next type of back, where they can be a receiver, they can be a blocker, a third down back, a utility type of a guy. But is that enough to be the 5th back on this team here? Once again, preseason, we're going to find out a lot here. Running backs, great group, a lot of step there. Let's go on to wide receivers here. We know the starters, Deshaun, Alshon. Obviously, we're going to have a great slot player there, Nelson Aguilar. He'll finally get his home where he needs to be they're in the slot. You know, I mean, with him in the slot, you know, as we saw in the Super Bowl, that's his home. That's where he needs to be. More of an inside player than an outside player. Then there's Arcega-Whiteside. You know, JJ drafted for us, potentially could be that next guy to succeed Alshon Jeffrey somewhere down the line. That's one thing I like coming out of this year's draft, is we draft our guys that can play now, but also guys to play for the future. Whiteside's a guy to me that lends that zone presence. He can be a guy in the as we get, you know, inside the 20, inside the 10, at the goal line, go up, get the ball. He's a big receiver, could be an Alshon type of a guy, and that could be a guy which we could be looking at down the line. You know, that's one area which, let's make no secret about it, this team has struggled with in years past, as this team gets inside the 20 of trying to convert those, you know, from field goals to touchdowns. We need to be better. So obviously a great 4, you know, as we got there. Once we get past those 4, that really gets interesting. Really good group of receivers here, but once again, we got to find out what direction we're going in here. You know, Mac Collins. Mac, where you been, buddy? You know, for the past year, he's been a bit banged up, you know, had the groin, had some other mysterious issues go on. Back, but once again, now banged up here in the offseason. As we know, he's primarily a special teams player. Can he come back and, you know, take the spot there that was kind of carved out for him to be that number 4 role? Now he's battling just to make the roster. So is he going to be the guy to be the 5th wide receiver? We'll see. Next question is how many running backs, how many wide receivers do we take out of this group? You know, I think running back probably 4 to 5. Wide receiver 5 at minimum, I'd say, but maybe 6. So Mac makes it maybe as the 5th. You know, remains to be seen. Shelton Gibson right now penciled in to be the 6th guy, but to me, Shelton's got a lot of work ahead of him. You know, he's had a bad couple first years. You know, drafted with Mac in the 17 draft, chances for them to both to come out and shine, to kind of be the next guy. Hasn't happened yet. You know, Shelton's primarily been a gunner on special teams. He's been injured so far this year in preseason, got injured this past Sunday night, rolled an ankle. So if that's the case, probably not going to play in the first preseason game or 2. That's going to cost him some time as we now look to the future. So now we're looking to see, okay, who's going to be that next guy? Guys that have had a great camp so far. Mark Michelle, a guy that could be a secondary slot player for us. Carton Edeguzzi, you know, 6'6" player. Huge guy out of Rutgers that no one saw coming, that could have himself, you know, a potential for a great future in this league. Greg Ward. Greg's been with us now for 3 training camps. He had a great time over in the XFL. He has a chance to come back and chance to prove something for us here. DeAndre Tompkins, more of a returner out of Penn State. Charles Johnson. No, not that Charles Johnson from the 99 Eagles, but Charles Johnson, formerly of the Vikings, who was an MVP like year in the AFF earlier this season. He has a chance to come out to kind of be that rotational type of a guy, kind of come in and play. Let's face it, if there's one thing that the Eagles need, is just true depth on the wide receiver spot. We didn't have it last year. You know, how many times we started the season, we had Josh Perkins lined up as a wide receiver, our 4th, 3rd tight end out there to kind of play. That can't happen. We have to be loaded from 1 to 5, 1 to 6. The last guy is Braxton Miller, a guy who I thought we'd see more of in training camp. We haven't seen it. Once again, that's what the preseason games are for. That's what camp is for, a chance for him to possibly get the chance. Next up is tight end. Tight end 1 and 2, basically 1A, 1BA. Zach and Dallas, I think, are, you know, they've got it. They're locked in. Next one's Richard Rogers. Richard's a little banged up, so we're going to get a good look at Josh Perkins, Will Ty, and recently signed Alex Ellis there. Team's only going to carry 3, you know, so not a whole lot we can really get into there. But, you know, if anything, I think Rogers pretty much has it locked up unless he gets banged up and he can't make it. And if he can't, Perkins is definitely going to take the spot out of it there. All right, so let's talk about the offensive line now, the big boys. Jason Peters is back from his injury. Looks like he's healthy and ready to go. Isaac Seumalo's got the left guard locked up. Not the biggest fan of his, but he's being given the opportunity. He was given an extension. It's his spot. Jason Kelsey returns. Brandon Brooks, obviously a question mark, coming back from the Achilles injury. The hope is he'll be back in time for the regular season. Week 1, week 2, we'll have to see. And obviously Lane Johnson's back at the tackle position. Currently, right now, Brandon Brooks, not playing right now. Halapoulivaati Vaitai has got the right guard spot locked in. This will be Vaitai's really first true chance to go out there and play the guard position. He's primarily been a tackle. Don't forget he was our left tackle in the Super Bowl. This is his last year, then he becomes a free agent. But he's always been a guy that's been good but never great. So maybe this is his opportunity. Then we start really digging into the depth here. Andre Dillard, our 1st round pick this year out of Washington, expecting big things to eventually take over as the left tackle. Really looking forward to watching him in the preseason. A couple other guys here. Stefan Wisniewski comes back. Matt Pryor was our draft pick last year, hoping to come in and possibly make the team. And obviously Jory Mailata, who's the project from Australia. thoughts are right now in camp is he's had a so-so camp, but let's not forget this. He's played 1 full year of football right now. So I think there's a very good chance he's going to make the team. Doug Peterson still speaks very highly of him as he's going to be the guy. But once again, he's got some things to prove. It's up to the team to see exactly where he's at. The rest of these guys, I think, really kind of fit into the, I don't know category. I think you could make a case for 9 to 10 guys that will make this team here. Everyone in green, I think, has got a great chance. Obviously, Dillard, but when we take a look at Ryan Bates, more or less a project, Suapana, Anthony Fabiano, Keegan Render, a lot of these guys they need time. I don't know necessarily if any of them are going to be practice squad material, but that's why we play the preseason games, just to see exactly what these guys have got.